So why do you choose the subjects you choose for your artwork, Jimmye?
Well, I do because these are goes back to when I was growing up. That most of these old trucks and cars, and then the people and the dog reminds me of when we were little children. I like to try to make them into memories for my kids or nieces and nephews to remember by. That's the main thing.
Here's the next one.
When you're making your line of cut, I notice sometimes you use colored pencil and some other mixed medias to hand color them in. Why do you choose to do that as opposed to just leaving them as plain prints?
Well, sometimes I want to make sure, like if that cowboy had on blue jeans, that was a advertisement that in that time that card came back from 1934, and that was the year I was born, and that was the first Wrangler jeans that people, the old cowboys wore Wranglers first. So I took the color pencil to make sure that the blue showed up.
And I've noticed that most of the children are actually family members. Is that right?
I just wanted to have pictures of nieces and nephews and my own children when they were little, so they'd have something from when I was young and fairly good looking.
That picture there is you and
Cindy.
your oldest
Yeah,
when she was a baby.
yeah. Then I hand colored this one.
So you'll a lot of times just recycle stuff, even if the print isn't perfect. Then you'll come back in, and that's the ones you'll
Right.
choose to draw on.
It's what we call ghost images. This was the first, and then I made a ghost of it, and then took the color pencils and colored in around to bring all this out.
Okay. What's your favorite printing process?
I think the linoleums are the best because I enjoy carving. It's sort of like sculpture. And this was a ghost, and I just took colored pencil and came in with paint thinner and smoothed it out. It sort of looks like watercolor, but it's paint thinner and Prismacolor.
Very nice. How long have you been doing printmaking?
Over 25 years now.
And what processes have you done?
I've done it all. I've done the metal plate. I started out with zinc. Our first thing that she had us do was linoleum, and then from the linoleum we did what is it called it when you
Intaglio or sugarlith?
know the linoleum, and then we do the plate black and wipe away colors. What is that called?
Reductive printing or something like that? Or no?
I don't know. So Linda has a name for it. Just we'll just say the next print I did was the zinc plate after the linoleum, and then we did collages of several prints. I've got some prints that has several prints put together. And like this one right here of the quilted, I actually got quilt blocks and printed these ladies on quilt blocks.
Who are those ladies?
This was Ms. Bradley and Ms. Oath from my hometown of Dublin, Texas.
And they were in a quilting circle?
Oh, they were in a nursing home. We're doing quilting there.
So a lot of your subject matter is from home and from your childhood background
Right,
and your own familial experiences?
yes. And I love chickens, and so that's the outcome of this chicken print.
Were those someone you knew's chickens?
Yes, friends of ours that lived in Comanche took us to this old guy's house, and he collected fossils, and so while they were looking for fossils, I was taking pictures of chickens to do prints of.
And do you take photographs of these images, or
Most
do you?
of the time I do, except for like this cowboy thing here was a postcard that was in 1934, which was the year I was born.
Okay.
That's the reason why I chose it.
You have several different of the same ones. Do you change the colors that you use, or do you?
Sometimes I tighten the press and see how if it's a lighter print of it makes it neater, or the darker one. And you'll see on that last bunch of prints that I've done there that there's some that are real tight going through the press, and then some that are loose. And then I did some with hand coloring.
And where did you? This next print, where did that image come from?
This is at, what is that little town? It's not Bardwell, but it's like you were going to Maypearl, that direction. I can't remember the name of the town, but that is an actual angel in that cemetery there. But this is not the best one. I gave my best ones away. And these are the two that I had left. Because everybody wanted an angel. He's sweet. I let them choose the ones they wanted. And this is an old truck at Rockette, Texas. And we go down there and have chicken fried steak and good eatings. They have a neat little cafe down there. And this was at a old cotton gin, and it was parked in underneath one of those deals where they unloaded the cotton. And see, this is an example. This one is tighter press, and this is lighter. So that's the reason why the red really shows up in this one. It doesn't show up that much in here.
So just your different pressures
Uh-huh.
renders a different coloration.
Setting on the press. And this one's even tighter. It's brighter than this one is. The brighter they are, the tighter the press is.
Okay. Now, as you do your linoleum cuts, do you do several different plates, or do you cut and then go print and then cut some more and go print?
What I do is you start out and you just do your lightest first and take your lightest color and put it down, and then you cut away for the next color that's lighter, which was the blue, and then you do the red, and the final print is the black that makes all of the images really show up. And all this other stuff is cut away. Just where you see the black lines is all that's left of that plate now. Because I cut away the rest of it. And this was a car that my dad had one exactly like this, but this was at a Farmall implement house that was sitting at the side of this building. And this one is really tight, and the black really took away from the colors, but you'll see I've got some that are lighter that show up the grass that's in front of. This is a little less tight here, so you can see the grass and the sheet iron that's behind this old car. This is another tight one.
I notice you use a lot of earth tone colors. Is that because you like those colors, or do you pick colors that are closer to the real color that was in that time period?
I like the earth tone colors best, and that's the reason why I choose them. Brown's my favorite color, which my first instructor and only in printmaking said, "What is your favorite color?" And I said brown, and she just almost fainted. See, you can see this is a less tight press, and you can see the yellow in this one. But you can't see that much in these others. Each time you change color, you have to line it back up and make it exact. Try to make it exact over the other images. And there's 4 colors there, so you have to, I think there's 10 of them here, so that meant that I ran these things through 40 times.
Mm-hmm.
4 times.
You
40.
said your dad used to, or y'all used to have a car like that when you were a kid?
Yes, exactly like this.
So you kind of, when you see stuff that reminds you of your family times or your childhood or things like that, that's what you use as an inspiration?
Right. I really enjoy the older things, and actually they were made better than they're making them now.
Mm-hmm.
Whether people believe it or not, they did.
Cool.
And this was our family dog, and he was actually sitting on a green ottoman, but I put him on the stump of a tree.
That's really kind of a neat texture with that linotype technique, huh?
Yeah. And this was, I laid this one over a print that somebody just discarded that had trees, and I said, I'm just going to lay that print on top of that, so I did.
It turned out really nice.
The green was somebody else's work. And these, you can tell this press was really tight because it's got a lot of black in it.
Mm-hmm.
This one you can see some of the brown. It kind of shows up more, but it depends on what people really like, whether they choose a dark one or a light one.
And then the cowboy, we talked about that one, so I'm going
Yeah.
to stop for just a second.
So, and it's got paper around, and you tear it off.
A stump.
You take a stump and you draw around it, or you can take a pen that has no more ink in it and do these white lines. That's what I did to get these.
Oh, is it a monotype? You did it on the
Yeah.
plate? Okay, so these are monotypes. They're not actually your linoleum cut?
These are monotypes.
Wow.
You do the plate black, and then you take that, like that picture that I showed you of yourself, you know, when you were a child, enlarge it and lay it down and go around the lines. And then I went back and took white paint and painted in the white to make everything show up, which I love these trees. You just do things light, and some places that you want to be really emphasized, you use heavier paint.
So that's your monotype, and that's the same thing as that portrait of me in those cowboy boots as a
Right.
baby.
That's it.
Okay.
That one I should. We were on our way to Weatherford to buy peaches, and this car was parked at Lipan, Texas, at one of these old buildings. And I told Marge, stop, I want to get a picture of that old car. And so I got out and took the picture of it straight on, but it's a long, different four-door thing. It looks like it's a coupe here, but it's four-door. And I couldn't get anybody that was so-called car people
Enthusiast.
to tell me what kind of car it is. So I really don't know what kind of car it is.
But it's like from the 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
And it was an oxidized red, so it was kind of a pink.
It was a mauve pink. I'll show you on some of these others.
Okay.
Like this one here.
Well, that's pretty. Did you hand color that one?
Yes. What I didn't do was put the black on top of the blue. I left the black off. And I hand colored in here.
Okay. This one is the actual color of the original car.
Uh-huh. It was light pink, mauve pink. That's what he painted it. I don't know what it was in the beginning, but that's what he painted it. The guy that owned the car.
Oh, so they restored it and it's mauve pink now.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't an oxidized red, it was a mauve pink that they...
Right.
Oh, that's nice. What colors were those cars back in the old days, do you remember?
Well, most of the time they were either a dark green or dark blue or dark black. There was never any of these beautiful colors like what these people are doing now that they're restoring them into these beautiful colors. They just didn't. That was not kosher in our day.
Okay. Thanks.
Here is the one that has the pink really showing up on it. And I hand colored the signs and the Coke machine and put in the Tarpley sign at that Lipan store across from where this thing was parked.
And that was a general store down in the town?
Yeah,
And where was this again?
Lipan, Texas.
Okay.
And you can see I've got a lot of pink in the sky.
Very nice. What made you want to photograph old cars and old trucks, Mom?
I just love them. It goes back to my childhood. My dad always loved these. He used to drive Plymouths and he would always pick a tan one, but I haven't found a tan one yet to photograph. I did 10 of them.
Again, you did 10 of these prints?
Uh-huh. That made it, I had to run it through these 10 prints, went through 40 times because each one had to go through the press 4 times. Each time I had to cut away a little bit to get another color.
Do you enjoy that process?
I love it. In fact, I like it better than nearly any of the other. I've done Itaglos, I've done sugarless, I've done all of these different types of prints, but this one is the most enjoyable because you had to figure out how much to cut away each time you change a color.
And so you'll do your 10 prints of one color and then come back and do another cutting and then come back and ink it up and do another
Right.
10 drops.
You have to cut away 4 different times. If you're going to use 4 colors, you got to cut away 4 times. to get your colors to show up. Okay?
Mm-hmm. So of all the processes, you really like the lino cut the best
I do.
at this point?
I do.
It's something that really works for you?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing lino cuts? Since the very beginning, or?
Yeah, she starts you out with your very first print is a lino. That's
And
what you learn on.
who is she that you're talking about?
Linda Ridgway.
And she was your teacher at Cedar Valley?
Yes. The only printmaker teacher that I had, except I did have a Liz, Elizabeth, what is her last name? Holden. Elizabeth Holden did lithographs, and I did a lithograph under her. And I don't have it in here, but it was of my aunt with a hole going across a field, and there's corns out there where she'd been working with the corn and everything. She's going back into the house, and she has on this bonnet. It's old memories. My grandmother worked the garden, and of course my grandmother's dead now.
Mama, is that what we called her?
Yeah. Mama.
And that was Aunt Susie,
Uh-huh.
your aunt, my great aunt?
Right. And that's all of those. But all of these that I've done are memories of the past, what really left an impression on me of how old people, we didn't worry about the depression if you lived in the country, because you had your garden and you had your livestock that you butchered and ate, so you didn't suffer like the people in town did. If you had an old reliable vehicle that was very good, you had it made. You went to town on Saturday and bought your staples and got good old bologna and light bread for a treat for Saturday night supper.
And your mother and father always had a garden?
Yes.
And you always grew up in, what part of Texas did you grow up in?
It was considered West Texas, but to me it was like Central Texas, but they considered it West Texas. But in the early days we had sandstorms that looked like what they got this year in Arizona and all. The sky would turn totally black.
And what town did you grow up in?
Dublin, Texas.
And what did your father do?
He was a ranch person that worked with the Lightning Sea Rodeo, took care of the owner, Mr. Colburn's horses. He was the one that saw to his horse and his children's and his wife's horse.
And what did your mother do? And what was your father's name?
Sam H.C. Lee.
And your mother?
Mary Jane Wilson Lay.
And what did she used to do?
She was started out being a one-room school teacher. From there she came to Dallas and went to Drawn's Business School and became a bookkeeper. And then she went to Beaumont and set up books for a sporting good.
Was it Spalding?
Spalding Sporting Goods. She set up their books and then came back to Dallas and met my dad's sister, and that's how she and he got together and got married. He was in World War I. They didn't get married till after the war was over.